I'm 53 years old, and in my adult lifetime, I've watched entire systems disappear. Not because they failed, but because we outgrew them. When I was younger, getting a ride meant walking over to a phone that was bolted to the wall, calling a dispatcher, and hoping a cab eventually showed up. You couldn't track it, you didn't know where it was, you just waited. And while you waited, you might rewind your VHS tape so you can return it to Blockbuster and avoid that Be Kind rewind fee. Because if you didn't rewind it, they charged you for that too. That's the way it was. Everything revolved around centralized systems. You worked around them, they definitely didn't work around you. Fast forward to now. I can tap my screen, summon a ride in minutes, watch the car travel toward me in real time, pay without ever touching cash using a digital wallet, and stream a movie instantly. No rewinding, no fees, no trip to Blockbuster, no waiting, and no middleman. We didn't just upgrade those systems, we totally reimagined them. We decentralized them. We redesigned them around our real life. So we've modernized comfort, we modernized entertainment, we modernized convenience, but the thing your body is mostly composed of, more than half of it, the one thing we cannot survive more than a few days without is water. And we're still managing it like it's 1920. The systems that manage the water that we depend on to survive deserve the same innovation we gave to those systems that entertain us. And you can see how outdated the thinking is every time it rains. We're rushing water off rooftops, rushing water off parking lots, rushing it away into storm drains as fast as possible. We could track our Uber Eats order in real time, but when it comes to clean rain landing on our rooftops, our strategy is basically get rid of it. It's a nuisance. Instead of treating rain as a resource, something that we can capture, store, and use in some way, we treat it like a problem to be discarded as quickly as possible. We build pipes to move it, plants to treat it. We spend millions of dollars every year making sure it disappears. And then months later, when service is interrupted or entire neighborhoods are told to boil water or go without, like we experienced right here in Richmond not too long ago, we panic. That contradiction should tell us something. We do not have a water problem, we have a water management problem. And it's driven by an outdated mindset. We've inherited the system, but we do not have to inherit the thinking that built it. It's time that we design for water instead of reacting to it. The infrastructure that currently manages our water was built for an entirely different world. Smaller population, slower demand, more soil, fewer impervious surfaces, but we paved fields, we poured concrete, we hardened the landscape. And when you harden the landscape, water behaves differently. Rain used to soak into soil. Now it races across the asphalt and it picks up oil and fertilizer, sediment, trash, and carries all this pollution directly into our rivers and bays. Rain harvesting is simply catching clean rain from roofs, storing it, and using it for beneficial purposes. And yet the most common concern I hear is that catching rain interrupts the hydrologic cycle. Harvesting rain doesn't break the cycle. It inserts a very deliberate pause. Instead of allowing rain to hit the hardscape and become runoff, clean rain is captured on rooftops, used in a responsible manner, and then returned to the environment strategically and in a better condition than if it had rushed across the pavement untreated. That's not interference. That's intentional design. And we're not short on water, on rain here in Virginia. We get an average of about 44 inches a year. That amount of rain on a single modest home annually is enough for over 1,000 10-minute showers. 1 inch of rain on a typical roof can flush toilets for months. That's water that's already falling, already landing on buildings, already becoming runoff that we are paying to get rid of. So, why are we still treating this abundance like waste? And this isn't theoretical to me. My family runs a small business in Newport News called Go Green Auto Care. It's a shop that was founded on and built around sustainability. Years ago, we installed a rain harvesting system. It made perfect sense to us. Use clean, purified rain for all of our shop needs instead of relying on the municipality's treated drinking water. We were so proud of it. But instead of being encouraged, our system was shut down. Catching rain was seen as a violation, and our business was temporarily closed. Standing there that moment, seeing my system turned off, I realized something important. The barrier wasn't technology, it was policy. And that moment changed the entire direction of my life. It pushed me back into school. It pushed me into policy. It pushed me into science. And today, I am pursuing graduate work in environmental studies because I believe deeply that we can design something better. And eventually, with the support of my community and working with lawmakers, we were able to carve a legal and regulated path for rain harvesting in the state of Virginia. So Virginia went from shutting systems down to recognizing rain harvesting in law. The pressure on our water systems is only increasing. The stakes are rising. Virginia is now one of the largest data center hubs on the planet. These are the facilities that power our everyday digital needs. So every time you send a text message, every time you store a photo on the cloud, every time you stream a show on Netflix or ask AI a question, somewhere there's a data center making that possible. These facilities aren't optional anymore. They're a part of the infrastructure of our modern life. They're essential, and they aren't going anywhere. But every major facility that's built without an alternative water source locks us into decades of groundwater dependence. And when regions compete for growth without competing on resilience, it risks becoming something else, a race to the bottom. Not in technology or innovation, but in resilience. There's an old idea called the tragedy of the commons. It's what happens when everybody depends on something, but no one takes responsibility to protect it. Water is the ultimate commons. And if no one takes responsibility to protect it, we are all going to pay the price. Because groundwater depletion doesn't arrive like a hurricane. It's more like high blood pressure. It's gradual and silent and easy to ignore until it isn't. That's exactly why it's so dangerous. So in science, when the stakes are high, there are two types of errors. The first is being cautious and then realizing later that the threat wasn't as serious or as severe as you thought. The second is doing nothing, not acting, and then discovering later that the very consequential consequences cannot be undone. And once it's depleted, it's not going to bounce back on our timeline. Aquifers do not refill on demand. So we have to start thinking differently about how we use what we already have. And rain harvesting isn't radical. It's practical. It's local. It's a common sense, nature-based solution. It's about decentralizing supply, catching and using water where it falls, instead of piping every drop through miles of pipes before we ever see it. Resilience doesn't come from one massive centralized source. It comes from distributed strength. So here's my ask, because each one of you have the power to determine what happens next, to influence what happens next. You are the future. As students, scientists, engineers, voters, planners, and citizens, be courageous. Demand water infrastructure evolve. Design buildings that treat rain as an asset instead of an inconvenience. Support policies that reward decentralized systems and local stewardship. And refuse to accept growth that doesn't have resilience built in. We outgrew every other system in every other part of our life. It's time we outgrow this one too. Because here's the truth. Our water future is literally falling from the sky. All we have to do is catch it.